Great to have you here. We're at the New York Auto Show, or actually the Auto Forum New York, sponsored by JD Power and NADA. It's the day before the press days of the New York Auto Show. Very big gathering today.
Yeah, it's been fantastic.
So we started the day talking about kind of the economic, financial landscape of the industry. And a lot of things were very positive. The economy is doing quite well and really better than most other economies. But we see a lot of industry data that kind of shows us heading maybe to some of the bad old days of before the pandemic, when new cars didn't make money and dealers were all beating each other up just to break even.
Yeah, things are certainly returning toward the mean, but we're by no means anywhere close to that. As a matter of fact, Q1, we just saw a record ever Q1 consumer expenditures. The number of dollars that consumers are spending on new cars in the United States set an all-time record in Q1. And that's been driven by higher volumes. So we know production is coming back, we know we're producing more, and we're selling more vehicles, and we're selling them now at a cheaper price. So despite the fact that prices are coming down, and maybe because they're coming down, we are seeing volumes increase so that consumers have spent more money on new cars in Q1 than ever.
That has been one of the changes, especially during the limited production, during the pandemic and the chip shortage, that prices went up and a lot of people kind of were priced out of the new car market. But maybe that's starting to ease back just a little more mix.
It is. We're actually still seeing higher MSRPs, but what's offsetting that is that we're seeing dealers are starting to discount a lot more to consumers, and we're starting to see the return of incentives. You talk about the bad old days. If there's one thing that we're seeing that is starting to get back to close to 2019 levels, it's that incentive spend this year is going to be $3,200 a unit, almost double last year.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of advertising, again, like the times before the pandemic, where it's, hey, come on down, get 10% off the sticker price. And those are some big numbers, and that's 10%. I know is a kind of a triggering number for you guys in the analysis of when incentives are really too high.
Yeah, matter of fact, I saw 15% off MSRP
Oh my
advertised
gosh.
recently over the weekend during NCAA games. So yeah, we are starting to see that return. And for dealers though, they got to be excited about that aspect, that the return of advertising the deal, right? That deal is in their name, and they're going to start getting back to those levels because consumers are going to see these ads and come in and expect a good deal on a car.
It's a part of what's so fascinating about the industry, right? Some elements are good for dealers and good for consumers, but not so great for the manufacturers. And other things like shortages in production can be good for dealers and automakers, but not for consumers or suppliers. So it's always such it's an interesting Rubik's Cube.
It is. And it's still a very favorable market for automakers. Again, prices are still up. Up basically a third from what we started pre-COVID. So it's good for them. Dealers are still making a lot of money, but consumers are just now starting to get better deals. I mean, we're going to see transaction prices fall $1,100 this year. And we've only seen prices fall on average 1 year this entire century that we're now, 24 years into. And that was back during the recession. I mean, 08, 09 is the last time we saw prices fall. And so it's very rare to see that in the auto industry, but that's good news for consumers. It will bring better deals, and it will help bring down those monthly payments a bit.
So this year sounds like kind of a sweet spot. Production is up and steady. Inventory is not quite out of hand yet, and customers are getting better prices. But it seems like the inventory is growing and projected to grow further this year. Is there a risk that in maybe 26 or 27 things start to look more like they did in 2018, 2019?
It's certainly possible, but just because we have the capacity doesn't mean we necessarily have to use it. But what we have seen in the past is that, when the capacity is there, we do use it. We don't have to, but we've shown that it's there. A lot remains to be seen between now and then. We have a lot of the game still to be played before those levels, but there is that potential there. I mean, we are increasing inventory pretty quickly. We have 1.7 million units on the ground today, and we are expecting in 24 for production to outpace sales by about another 500,000. So that amount will go up, but again, that means more incentives for consumers, and prices should start to come down. So it's a double-edged sword for each of these metrics.
Yeah, and more variety, more to choose from. I guess the one thing, there's so many longtime players who have the scars of those past years of over-incentivizing and overproduction and lack of profitability. But we also have some new players coming into the market that could really skew that and ramp up some of that push for market share that has been so toxic in the past?
Yeah, I mean, we do have a lot of entries. Automakers like VinFast and others that have entered the market recently that are competing for market share. I would say right now, automakers, the traditional automakers have that great strength, which is the dealer network. When inventory's low, automakers are kind of looking at the direct to consumer model, going, "Oh, that's really great." But when inventory levels get high, they're going to be really thankful for their dealer partners to take the inventory to work with consumers to find that market clearing price. I think what we're going to find is a return to the strength of the dealer model here in 2024, because automakers are going to lean on them again to assist. But you're talking about maybe a return to the bad old days. In 2019, we were probably getting a lot of pressure built into the industry, too much inventory on the ground. Well, we had an event that cleared all that out. And the result was everybody got massive profit out of it. Unlike the old days, 08, 09, when there was a reckoning because the profit was gone. In this case, the profits went the other way. So we've had several years now of these surplus profits. And if you had those, whether you're a dealer or an automaker, you've chosen how you wanted to reinvest that. And I hope most people invested that back in their business, invested it in the product, in their processes, and their people to get ready for the future. But if you didn't use that, you maybe have lost that opportunity. But we just had a massive opportunity with all that profit. I mean, maybe we were overdue for a recession when COVID happened. Well, whatever took place, it was a net positive for everyone. And so how they invested that, we're about to find out.
Yep, we'll see. It'll take years as we watch it play out, but we know we'll be talking with you and your colleagues at JD Power as we keep track of all the numbers and see how they do.
All right. Thanks, Jamie.